The way you see yourself is essential and of utmost importance. It's as if you carve and sculpt and create out of your own interpretation. Then you declare, I am. I became the name I called myself. What matters most is how you see yourself. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello, everyone. I'm Karis. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, March 30th through Saturday, April 5th, 2025. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. As we begin the very exciting April night sky, we have the waxing moon conjunct the delicate and enchanting Pleiades star cluster. The waxing crescent moon will also make a conjunction to the illuminated bright kingly planet Jupiter, larger than life, in the west-northwest in the constellation of Taurus. Look for this an hour after sunset. The moon will then float near the Little Dipper and the nearby larger V-shaped Hyades cluster with its red planet, the fixed star Aldebaran, in the foreground. On April 5th, we've got the moon conjunct Mars with the twin stars Castor and Pollux. Also on April 5th, the Griffith Observatory here in Los Angeles, it hosts its monthly star party on April 5th, where the local astronomical organizations, they set up their telescopes out on the lawn in front of the observatory. They're there in the morning until 9:30, quarter to 10 at night, where you can either use the telescope in the Griffith Observatory, but because the weather is much nicer and the astronomical organizations are there for the daytime into the nighttime, they as well share their telescopes with the public and also share their knowledge. It's a wonderful monthly event. Again, it's free at the Griffith Observatory, and they explain many different things. There's always so much to learn with the eternal, never-ending, beautiful, magnificent cosmos. If you're in Los Angeles, indulge yourself sometime. Bring the kids, make some friends, or if you're on your own, just go yourself and enjoy. You will make friends. The astronomical community here in Los Angeles is a very close-knit community. After a while, you see the same people, you get to know them, and you share that commonality of just the love and appreciation for the cosmos. The 7 original planets first used in astrology, or the OGs as I call them, that you can see without aid of binoculars or telescope, just like the first original astrologers did, they are starting off the week lined up as such. We've got the sun in cardinal fire Aries, ruled by Mars. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Mercury is now retrograde in its detriment in fall placement of Pisces. Venus is also retrograde, now exalted in the sign of Pisces. Mars is still in its fall placement of Cancer. Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. And Saturn is direct in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. We start off the week on Sunday, the Sun's Day, March 30th, with the outer generational planet Neptune entering the sign of Aries. Neptune will be in the sign of Aries from 2025 until March of 2039. After something has been damaged and or destroyed, we enter a reconstruction or a rebuilding time. The planet Neptune is an outer generational planet. From our perspective, it moves very slowly and spends about 13 to 15 years-ish in one division also called sign of the zodiac. In this case, it's Neptune in Aries. The last Neptune in Aries cycle was in the 1800s after the Civil War, when a whole group of people were reconstructing and redefining who and what they were. This is the Aries I am. And boy, do we have unfinished business there. Because if you assume wrongly that slavery ended at the time of the end of the Civil War, then that is simply not true. Also, this was a time during the suffragette movement when women were calling for and taking a stand for their rights. They didn't even have the right to vote at this time. As recently as the 1950s, married women could not get a checking account without the consent of their husband. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago a very famous legendary comedian named Phyllis Diller. When she was married with children, a housewife, not only was she dreaming of becoming the legendary icon she would become, but at that time she couldn't have a checking account unless it was approved of by her husband. Women were considered to be the property of their husbands. The human sex trafficking slave industry that is very much alive and thriving today, it is estimated that slavery business generates over about $150 billion per year, if those estimates are correct. This Neptune and Aries cycle that we are beginning and that I am just so excited and enthusiastic about is ushering in a time frame, a cycle of how wherever you have been damaged in your life, this is in your personal life, and how it affects the generation of this Neptune in Aries. This is the reconstruction of where you have been damaged, almost destroyed, and now it is time for reconstruction, to rebuild. Aries says, I am. I was born free. I am free. I am. I was born free, and I am enough. There is a brilliant British therapist named Marissa Peer. She is the lady that coined the phrase, I am enough. She worked in Hollywood for years with all the people that have so much you can't wrap your mind around it pretty much. And what she worked with is the sense that people have that no matter how much they get, no matter how much they have in the material sense of the word, there was still this pain and dissatisfaction in their soul that they weren't enough. I can't encourage you enough that if you have this feeling or belief about yourself or this definition, because Aries is the I am, how we name and define ourselves, if you have this feeling in your heart and soul that you are not enough, then like the work of Marissa Peer, you should know who she is. You can easily look her up. Like her genius work of I am enough, I hope that you do that for yourself, because just like the Aries newborn baby, you are perfect, whole, and of course, more than enough, just the way you are, and you are free. During the Reconstruction period in the 1800s, this transformation from slave to free person is that redefining of yourself, which we've come full circle. There is much work to do, but this is a redefining, a reconstruction of how you see yourself, what you perceive and believe about yourself in the sense of I am. This Neptune and Aries cycle will bring up into the light where and how you feel that you are a slave to something or someone, even if it's you feeling like you're a slave to things within yourself that you seem to not be able to control, overcome, like addiction. This Neptune and Pisces cycle that we're saying goodbye to certainly brought to the forefront the addictions in all of its many, many forms. Aries is springtime, new life, a new time to grow and thrive, to bloom and express the freedom of who and what you were born to be. Think of Aries as that little seed that sprouts up during the springtime season. And then when if it is nurtured and cared for correctly, that little seed can grow and thrive into a giant tree. It's something that blooms and shines its light. So that growth spurt, Aries, it begins with not only the I am free, but the support of what allows something to live and thrive and grow. That is the direction. That is what this Neptune in Aries is all about. It is a process, and the work to do this is unlimited. It's unlimited potential with what you can do and be and who you truly are. The Neptune in Aries cycle is also the freedom from the fears that control you. If you weren't afraid of the outcome, if you weren't afraid what people think and how they may judge, if you simply weren't afraid of the outside influences keeping you a slave and in prison, this Neptune in Aries asks the question, who and what would you do? Who and what would you be? In this American puritanical culture, the belief, or the slavery we could say, is that if you're not working and producing all the time, if you're not setting goals and accomplishing things all the time, the belief is, well, what good are you? You're not working all the time. We say the phrase guilty pleasure, not just pleasure for the sake of pleasure. It has to be guilty pleasure. Who came up with that slavery belief? Because in this puritanical culture, that is accepted as law. For all of us to go through the Neptune in Aries process and transformation of how we define who and what we are, and to be okay with that. Where if you simply just want to live and live free, and like Aries, just be yourself, irrespective of how you are judged for that. If you can just say, I was born free, I am free, then not only the peace of mind that brings to your mind and your heart and soul, but there does come a time in life, if you're willing to go through the transformation of I am, there comes a time where your life is exactly right for you. That's the best way I can describe it, where it's just a perfect fitted glove on your hand, where it suits you, it fits you, and your life just feels right because it is right. Like the newborn baby, you're not trying to pretend or repress. You're not trying to be anything other than who and what you are, and it is enough for you. Might not be enough for other people, but that's not the concern. The concern, the transformation, is that you get to the point through this Neptune and Aries cycle where you just know and feel this is exactly right for you. And it's pretty much impossible to get to that place of your life being exactly right for you as long as we are slaves. Slaves to our emotion, slaves to our belief system, slaves to the system, just slavery itself. And here's a fact. Slaves hate their masters. The emotion of hatred is one of the most toxic, poisonous, life-killing emotion and psychological state that we could possibly be in. It's not whole and healthy like the newborn baby, obviously. Imagine just living your life without hatred running through your body because you know that you're being a slave to something or someone, even if it's only to yourself. When you are free, when you can say the I am, then anyone could have any kind of opinion about you and tell you to your face, as they very often do. And you would just say, cool. Thanks for your opinion. Have a nice life. When you get to the place without any attitude or edge, when you get to that place of I am free, then you can say, this is me. Take it or leave it. Again, there's no attitude. There's no edge there. It's just I am. I accept myself. This is who I am. And whether you like or don't like, it's all good. It's all nice. Peace out. You also feel great compassion and sorry for the person or the people that are judging you in a certain way, because you know when you are free, you can easily spot and identify the not freed person, that the person judging and trying to control you is projecting. They're doing so because they are in a place where they are not free yet from whoever enslaves them. You actually feel sorry for the person that is insulting you or criticizing you or bringing you down right to your face. You not only feel sorry for them and feel compassion for them, you actually hope that someday that they find their freedom. As I just stated, slaves hate their master. Or as one of my heroes, Booker T. Washington, a freed slave that became an incredible teacher, writer, speech maker, once said, I shall allow no man to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate him, no matter what color of his skin. The worst form of slavery and its consequences that I have observed as a professional astrologer is when someone trades their freedom for money for the payoff. We all have our own story of where we have traded our freedom. There is no price that is worth giving up your I am born free. So the Neptune in Aries is all of us going through this generational process of where in our lives perhaps we are not free and we will become free. Slavery has existed since pretty much the beginning of civilization. What's different now, or what has changed now, is that we have social media and communication tools that help us to try to see more clearly just what is going on around the world and where people and situations need to become free. So this Neptune is how the collective will be transforming, but it always goes back to the personal individual and where we are transforming with Neptune in Aries from slave to I am born free. That Neptune in Aries. This is just, again, so exciting to me to see what's going to take place over the next 14 years-ish and how people define themselves, because it's your identity, the I am, how you think and believe and perceive of yourself, and how we will move into the future with Aries. Enthusiasm, fire, excitement, courage, boldness, how we will move in this direction of freedom. And yes, it is unfinished business, and there is much exciting work to do. It would take too much time in this podcast for me to go into the details of the Reconstruction period after the Civil War, but if you are so inclined, you can look this up for yourself and see what really happened as far as slavery ending at the ending of the Civil War. Nothing could be further from the truth, but find out for yourself if you are so inclined. There's an old saying, people are as sick as their secrets. And as far as all of this covert secret slavery goes on, we will remain as sick as our secrets. March 31st is so interesting on my calendar because depending on your time zone, in my astrology calendar, there are no aspects on this day. Not the moon, not one planet for March 31st. Pacific Standard Time is making any aspects. It's like the whole cosmos has gone void of course. There's a cosmic pause here. Neptune enters Aries, which is the giving of the birth, the newborn baby. And March 31st, it just stops and takes a pause. When we stop and take a pause at holidays and births and deaths, the important time frames of life where we will never be the same again, that warrants, like on Monday, March 31st, just standing still and taking a pause, because we've got to take it all in and process, knowing that our life will never be the same again. It is forever changed and transformed. So whatever your spiritual practice is, for Monday, March 31st, take some time, if you are so inclined, to just pause for a moment and take it all in, the cosmos and the transformation that is about to take place. You may want to think about or contemplate, what does freedom mean for you? Where have you not been free in your life? What is the fear that keeps you afraid? What is the price that you believe you will have to pay to become free? So what an interesting day. I really can't remember when I've seen a day on my astrological calendar when there are no aspects. The cosmos is just standing still in reverence and respect and in hope. That's also Aries, about what is yet may happen in the future. It's like the birth of a child, and when we hear that first cry, and for a moment you just pause and take a breath, because new life has come into the world. The new life, the newborn baby coming into the world, is you. The respect and reverence that you have and will have for your life and everybody else's as well. Tuesday, Mars's Day, April 1st, happy April Fool's Day. We've got the moon exalted in Taurus. The moon exalted in Taurus is making a conjunction with the planet Uranus in Taurus. This is the sudden freedom of being willing to give up the I have, which is what Taurus says, a freedom from holding on to things that have now weighed you down. They've become too heavy. We've got the moon exalted in Taurus making a sextile aspect to Mars in its fall in Cancer, sextile to Saturn in Pisces, a sextile to its ruler, Venus exalted in Pisces. This is the moon sextile Venus in Pisces. The moon in Taurus makes a sextile to Mercury in Pisces. Be careful of talking too quickly with that one. And then later on in the day, we've got the moon entering mutable air Gemini, which is the moon's need and desire for things to change, for freedom, a new way of thinking, a new way of wanting to learn and gain new knowledge. The moon in Gemini then makes a sextile aspect to Neptune in Aries. This is the first aspect that Neptune now in Aries gets from another planet, and it is the moon, what we need in Gemini, which is the moon in Gemini saying to Neptune in Aries, there's an opportunity here. Help me, Neptune in Aries, to rethink, redefine what does it mean to be free, to think freedom oriented. Also the moon in Gemini making that sextile to Neptune in Aries is all of these changes that you're feeling and how you want to feel what's right for you, exactly how you identify yourself as a free person with Neptune in Aries. Moon in Gemini then makes a beautiful supportive air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius. This is the death and rebirth cycle, Pluto in Aquarius, the phoenix rising from the ashes, where we are willing and supported with the air trine flow to let thoughts and beliefs, let them die and transform at this time as you define the free thinking, Moon in Gemini, and what that means for you. Wednesday, Mercury's Day, April 2nd, we still have the moon and Gemini making a sextile aspect of opportunity to the sun exalted in Aries. Such a beautiful aspect when we have the two luminaries, the two lights, the sun and the moon, making this 60-degree angle of opportunity, moon sextile the sun exalted, and how the opportunities always are endless. There's always some fresh new angle perspective to help you out, which is what the moon needs with the moon in Gemini. The moon in Gemini then makes a conjunction to Jupiter in Gemini, its detriment ruled by Mercury. The moon in Gemini making this conjunction to Jupiter in Gemini is that need to want to go around and blab and tell everybody about your new found freedom at this time. Because Jupiter is in its detriment, you may want to keep it to yourself for a while. You don't have to talk things away, so you may want to hold on to it for a bit. Let it sit there and ruminate for a while before you feel the need to post it all over social media and tell your friends about this newborn freedom that you're discovering and finding for yourself. Give it some time to just grow legs, to get steady, so to speak, before you have to Moon in Gemini conjunct Jupiter in Gemini and run around and declare things before you're solid with it, before you're really secure in feeling it. Thursday, Jupiter's day, April 3rd, we still have the moon starting off the day in Gemini, making a sextile aspect to Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. This is the healing of the I am free. The moon in Gemini then makes a square aspect to Saturn in Pisces, Mercury and Venus in Pisces. This blending of air and water is a bit stormy here. We don't want to stir the pot on this day. We just want to try to let it be if we can, because then the moon goes home to her castle and enters her domicile in the sign of cardinal water Cancer. The moon in Cancer feels very comfortable and knows and feels that she has all of the resources, everything she needs to be connected to her feelings. You live in your emotional body. This is the moon. And when the moon is at home in Cancer, finding that connection to yourself and how you feel is everything. When you're not confused, you know how you feel. You know what you want. You know where your home is and where you feel comfortable. The moon in Cancer then makes a square aspect to Neptune in Aries. The moon and Neptune, those two planets in cardinal signs of the zodiac, are very anxious to get something new started. There's a great impatience there, and the blending of water and fire can be very passionate and very stormy. Again, the cardinals are anxious to let's just get going very quickly. Feel this out for a bit. You've got to feel as well as think and intellectualize just who and what you are as a free, reborn person. Friday, April 4th, Venus's day, we still have the moon at home in Cancer, and the moon in Cancer makes a sextile aspect to the planet Uranus in Taurus, a water trine flow to Saturn in Pisces. Saturn makes a sextile aspect to Uranus in Taurus. This is the willingness to do the work to create something, Saturn, in a new way that is more freedom oriented for you, a new way of creating abundance and money that is real, Saturn, but more freedom oriented. We also have the second quarter moon with the moon in Cancer making a square to the sun exalted in Aries. As we cross over that cross quarter point, we are now moving from second quarter moon to the full moon. So the energy will start to build and amp up. In other words, the energy is going to intensify, the emotion and the passion about yourself, redefining yourself and your newfound freedom. That will intensify. And then on Saturday, Saturn's day, April 5th, we have the moon in Cancer making a beautiful water trine flow to Saturn in Pisces, mutable water. This is when the moon and the practicality are in harmony with each other as far as just what will it take? What is it going to take? Where is that emotional power, because this is water, to rebuild your life and your goals? Then the moon at home in Cancer makes a beautiful water trine flow to Venus exalted in Pisces, and that is the way that you visualize and design a beautiful life filled with love. Venus exalted in Pisces. Then the moon in Cancer makes a water trine flow to Mercury in its fall and detrimental placement in Pisces. That again is, you're not quite ready. You don't have to run around announcing your newfound life and reconstruction to everybody all over the place, everyone you know. Because when we are in that reconstruction phase, we are rebuilding after damage or after something has potentially been destroyed. For instance, after a bad breakup perhaps. There's a time when keeping it to yourself is a great protective mechanism, and the sign of Cancer is greatly sensitive and protective. Just watch the little crab hiding in its crab shell. The tough outer shell seems to be very tough, yet underneath the soft underbelly of the crab, where we're very sensitive in the third chakra, stomach area, you're reconstructing whatever that means for you in your life. You're reconstructing. Just keep it to yourself for a bit as the energy builds and condenses towards that full moon. Then later on in the evening, the moon moves into fixed fire, oh so romantic Leo that rules over the heart. So that's a new sense of excitement and happiness. The sun, Leo, is sunny. It's happy. It's playful. And as we close out this week and move into Sunday, the sun's day, with the moon in Leo, prepare to have some fun. Enjoy this. This isn't all gloom and doom and darkness. This is an expressive moon in Leo, happy thing. I love Leo. They're playful. They're always big kids. They're so much fun, no matter what is going on. The sun, Leo, they shine their light. They are the sunshine. And thank goodness they always have that big kid at heart. They know how to laugh and play and lighten things up when things seem to get very dark. They are the sun, the life-giving force. So here's to Reconstruction and Neptune entering the first bold I am born free sign of the zodiac, Aries. What you see is what you get. Take it or leave it without any kind of attitude. This is me. This is who I am. And this is our Neptune in Aries cycle that we are beginning with unfinished business and much work, much exciting work to do. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous week. I will see you all in the stars.